الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أما بعد، يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. صدق الله العظيم. Brothers and sisters in Islam, translation of this verse could be as follows, and this is translation of the meaning of the verse. It's not translation of the verse, but translation of the meaning of the verse. And it's taken from Yusuf Ali, may Allah shower His mercy upon him. The translation goes: O mankind, reverence your guardian Lord, who created you from a single person, created of like nature, His mate, and from them twain scattered like seeds countless men and women. Reverence Allah, through whom ye demand your mutual rights, and reverence the womb that bore you, for Allah ever watches over you. That's a translation of the verse. First, I apologize for the fact that I have been too busy of late, and I requested humbly our Sheikh Adly to excuse me from traveling to your city or the city we're in right now and give this lecture, because I'm going to be going overseas in a couple of days, and I have just uncountable number of things that I have to finish. But Sheikh Adly said no, and when he says no, you have to obey. So I came. So honestly, I'm not a Superman. And the only Superman would be able to handle what I have in addition to come over here and go. So I did not prepare for this lecture. And talking about Superman, it reminded me of a joke that our brother, most of you know him, Siraj Wahad. Our brother Siraj Wahad one time told us a joke about Muhammad Ali. I think everybody knows the boxer, Muhammad Ali Clyde, right? Muhammad Ali. He said one time Muhammad Ali.
محمد عدلي.
Huh?
محمد عدلي.
Oh, Muhammad Ali. He said one time Muhammad Ali Clyde was traveling, flying, and then apparently they were going through turbulences, rough air, and apparently they requested that everybody put the seat belt. Everybody did except Muhammad Ali. He did not wear his seat belt. So courteously, the hostess came to him. Now they call them flight attendants, but in the past they called them hostess, because no man was actually a flight attendant, so he was hostess. But when men also started working like flight attendants, they call them flight attendants. So the flight attendants came to him, and she told him politely, Mr. Muhammad Ali, please wear your seatbelt. She went, she came back, and he still did not wear his seatbelt. So she went and she spoke over the microphone. Mr. Muhammad Ali, please wear your seatbelt. He said, I'm a Superman. She told him, Superman need no flying, please wear your seatbelt. So, I do not anticipate that this lecture will be at the level that I wanted, because I'm not a Superman. But what I will do is that I will just shed some light on some of the points that I could recall and document or write down on the computer. So I'll be relying on the computer most of the time. Very little I will rely on my memory, because my memory is getting bad, I'm getting old. If I look at the Muslims in this country and divide them into indigent and immigrant, I realize one thing, and that's my observation, I could be wrong. I realize that the indigents are progressing positively and the immigrants are regressing. We are losing some of the commitments that we came with from our home countries. Some of us changed their names, some of us don't even want to be associated with Muslims, some of us started adopting bad habits. To the contrary, our brothers who were born and raised here, they start adopting Muslim names, they start committing more to Islam, so they're moving the right direction, we're moving a little bit backward. That's my observation, I could be wrong. I mean, no insult intended to anyone. You may be moving forward, an immigrant, that's fine. But in general, and if we go to history, we will see that many Muslims who migrated to South America, their second and third generations were not Muslims anymore. And also in America, in 1980, there was a statistics that stated that no third generation remained as Muslims. In 1980. But recent statistics states that in Los Angeles and Chicago and maybe Detroit, now there are third generation who are Muslims, alhamdulillah. Obviously, the reasons are many. In the past, we did not have sheikhs coming to the United States. I'm talking about 30 years ago. Most of you were not even in this world 30 years ago. Some of you were kids running around. When we needed lectures, when we had a conference or symposium or what have you, we would call upon the scholars from overseas to come. We didn't have professional imams like you do now. We didn't have councils of imams, no amja, no naif, for those of you who know them. So even if we needed answers for some questions, we used to call Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, Pakistan, and so on and so forth. We used to call. Alhamdulillah, now we have so many imams. Pretty much in every state there are several masjids, and we have too many imams. So the immigrants, along with their indigent brothers, they thought maybe we should have masjids. That way we will preserve our children culture, our children religion and tradition. And they rushed building masjids. But then, after some time, when the kids grow up, because we came as students, most of us came as students, but then the students are no longer students. Even what is now known as Islamic Society of North America, it wasn't Islamic Society of North America. It was Muslim Students Association. But then, like I said, the Muslim students were no longer students, those who were administering and managing that organization. So the name was changed because most of them, they got children, they were professionals, they're working, but they're still running that same organization. So a meeting was held and a decision was made so that let's change the name from MSA to Islamic Society of North America. They changed the name. Still, they realized that their children are slowly and gradually slipping away from them, slowly and gradually adapting some of the culture in this country. I'm not ridiculing the culture in this country. It is a free country, they can adopt whatever culture they want. But the immigrants, they realized that, well, maybe we should preserve some of the culture that we came with, or we came from. Maybe we should also make sure that our children are not going to slip, they're not going to convert, or convert, that's the right term, they're not going to convert. Our brothers who accept Islam, they revert to Islam because that is their original. But the brothers who are Muslims and slip to Christianity, they convert, they do not revert. Okay? Revert is just from non-Muslim to Muslim, not the other way around. So they started thinking about schools. So fundraisers which used to be only for masjids became fundraisers for schools. They built schools. Some of the brothers who could not build schools, they thought maybe I should change from public school and take my kids to, for example, a Christian school. And they did. Some of the Muslims did, because they thought that the church realized the too many problems in public schools. Gambling problems, yes, gambling, drugs, peer pressure, teenage pregnancy, you name it, many problems. So the church, some of the loyal Christians, they started building their own schools controlled by the church. Muslims also started building their own schools. At the beginning, they went very well. The first schools were in Toronto and Los Angeles, and followed by Chicago and some of the main cities. They did extremely well, to the extent that some Christians and Jews would come to Muslims and tell them, please accept our children. Educate them. You want to educate them about Muhammad, you want to educate them about whatever. We just want our kids to go to the public schools. And moreover, the graduates, the early graduates of these schools, they went to Ivy League universities. They went to top schools. They did extremely well. But still, the problem still existed. But not at the same scale, not at the same level, but it was reduced. But gradually, because of the internet, because of the communication, which is now very, very easy, okay, the same problems from the public school are now getting into the private schools, getting into the Christian schools, getting into the Muslim schools, and so on and so forth. The Sheikh who talked before me spoke about some of the problems. And when we tend to speak about raising children, we start not from the point where we're supposed to start. We normally start in the middle. So I'm going to take you from that tradition. I'm not going to start from the middle. I'm going to go and start from the point where I believe we should start. So what I will be doing, I will be talking about our lives before marriage. Obviously, I wouldn't be addressing those who are married. I'll be addressing who? The bachelors. So I want them to lend me their ears and listen carefully. For us, we lost that chance. May Allah forgive us for whatever we did. And then I will talk about choices of your spouse. Because you want to raise a good kid, you have to start right. You have to start where you're supposed to. And then I'll talk about after the marriage, which is the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah blesses maybe all of you, maybe most of you, with beautiful gifts of children. I'll talk about that point. And then I'll talk about bringing up these children at infancy, when they're toddlers, when they're teenagers. Inshallah, I'll try to be brief. And I did not have the transparencies because I did not have time. So bear with me. I'm going to use my computer and I'm going to scroll down and look for what I'm supposed to talk, and then I will convey it to you. And it's mostly in Arabic also, so I have to do parallel processing. I have to read in Arabic and then translate in English and get it back to you. So if you see pauses every now and then, please understand the reason. Okay, so basically these are the topics that I'm going to cover. If we look into the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I'm going to be brief, I'm not going to talk in details. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in one of the hadiths narrated, he states that choose for your, literally translated, drop. Choose for your drops. What does that mean? I want to ask. تخيروا لنطبقكم. Huh? So تخيروا. What is it? What did he mean by choose? Carefully choose. That means selective. Be selective, right? Is it addressing the man or the woman? Both. Barakallahu fiqh. Both. It's not all the time man. Yes. Our sisters have the right to say no also. So they have the right. Islam gave them that right. So what does it mean? Yani, also our scholars tell us, do not terminate the womb. What does that mean? Of course, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the womb, is reported in the sacred hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the womb, do you not want that I continue the one who preserves the womb relationship and discontinue the ones that do not? It was reported that the womb said yes, and Allah knows. So it was reported that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and so it will. So man qata'a rahimahu. Now, so the womb, what does it mean? To relate this to picking the right wife. Because if you don't pick the right wife, the worst situation could be that she may commit adultery. And if she commits adultery, and same thing for the man also, what will happen in an Islamic state? Not in an Islamic state, don't be scared. In Christianity, what did Jesus say when they were trying to stone a woman?
It's the one who without sins.
Yes.
The first stone.
All of us are sinning. All of us are sinners. But anyway, when they stone the wife or when they stone the husband, what will happen to the child? He lost. Right? So, choosing the right wife is extremely important. The Prophet ﷺ gave criteria. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said in the Quran, and I'm going to the extreme now. Not extreme the verse, no. We're talking from chastity to the other extreme. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الزاني لا ينكح إلا زانية أو مشركة والزانية لا ينكحها إلا زان وحرم ذلك على المؤمنين. Translation of this is, let no man guilty of adultery or fornication marry but a woman similarly guilty, or an unbeliever. Nor let any but such a man or an unbeliever marry such a woman. To the believers, such a thing is forbidden. Now, in also another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْبَلَدُ الطَّيِّبُ يَخْرُجُ نَبَاتُهُ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِ وَالَّذِي خَبُثَ لَا يَخْرُجُ إِلَّا نَكِدًا. Barakallahu fikum. From the land that is clean and good, by the will of its cherisher, springs up produce, rich after its kind. But from the land that is bad, springs up nothing but that which is niggardly. Thus do we explain the signs, various symbols, to those who are grateful. In a hadith, also the Prophet ﷺ said what could be translated as, don't get married to a girl who's really wealthy, but raised in an environment which is non-Islamic at all. Even if she is born from a Muslim parent. Iyakum? Yes. Maybe some people will question this hadith. Maybe some people will question it.
Which hadith دوت تخيروا لنطفقوا فإن العرق دساس.
No, I'm talking about this hadith. But there are some hadiths. I know. There are some hadiths which support the meaning of this one. I'm just mentioning.
But both of them are.
Barakallahu fiqh. Yes, there are some hadiths which will. Yes, there are some hadiths which will support this. Okay, so inshallah we will continue what the Sharia of Islam actually wanted for each and every one of us. And may Allah forgive us if we did not know in the past. And obviously those of us who accepted Islam are better than us. In the sense that if a person accepted Islam at old age, all the sins before accepting Islam inshallah are forgiven. So they are like newborn babies. It's not like us. When we reach adolescence, the recording started. And I don't know which side is heavier, symbolically, but they're better than us. When they accept Islam, everything which was there, it will be moved over here. So they will have this very heavy, inshallah, and I hope that they will continue, obviously they will have some, they're human beings, but for those of us who did not get the chance to follow, what I'm going to recommend to the youngsters who are bachelors now, don't feel bad, because that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will take place. And a repentant person, a person who repents, Allah forgives. So may Allah forgive us, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. Make sure that our children are not going to commit the mistakes that we did. Our Sharia says that we have to pick the right girl for marriage. And she doesn't have to be a free woman. She could also be a bond woman, or as they call it, slave. And slave in Islam has nothing to do with color. Many people have this misconception that during the Prophet ﷺ's time, slavery is for black people. There were only 2 or 3 black people, but there were thousands and thousands of slaves. Some of Roman descent, some of Persian descent, some of Arabic descent, some of Turkish descent. Slavery is if 2 tribes fought and then prisoners of war are taken, these prisoners of war will become slaves. So even Islam, when it talks about slavery, Islam was very fair. Slavery had no color in Islam. But some people try to somehow put Islam as a religion that enslaved black people. It has nothing to do with that. Actually, the majority of those who live in the areas which are, I would say, which line? I think it is the 20th, and south all the way until near the equatorial, they're dark people, by all means. Be it in southern Saudi Arabia or some parts of Yemen or some parts of Kuwait, they're dark people. By the terminology of this country, they're blacks. But these same people, their ancestors, they enslaved Romans, they enslaved Persians, they enslaved other people. So slavery in Islam is colorless. Okay. So when I say that the same criteria for choosing the free woman or girl for marriage are the same for choosing, let's say, a slave or a bondwoman for marriage. Okay? Why? Why are we supposed to have such strict criteria for choosing the wife? Number one, a person who chooses the right wife will at least be safe of the vileness of a non-virtuous wife. Number two, she will protect her chastity. Number three, if she is rational and reasonable, then her good characters are going to be transmitted through what?
Children.
Yeah, transmitted to the children through what? What is the mechanism that relays the same?
Example.
Genes.
Genes. Yes, through the genes it's going to be transmitted. Do we have a hadith which support that?
كل مولود يولد على الفطرة.
Barakallah fiqh. Every newborn will be born at the pure natural disposition of the human being. But the hadith says the parents will make him what? A Jew?
Christian.
Or will make him a Christian? Or will make him what?
Megan.
No, it didn't say make him a Muslim.
Megan. Christian, Jew, or a Megan.
Right. It didn't say it will make him a Muslim.
Because he is
Because he is born a Muslim. Everybody is born a Muslim. Huh?
موسى اللي مجلس مجوسي.
Yeah, but it's not Muslim. I'm sorry. Okay, you're okay. Barakallah fiqh. But the genes transmit some of the characteristics from both. And we have proof from Islam, and also there are proofs from the science. We do not use science to support Islam, because science can change. We will use Islam and that's it. But if the scientist said something and it's consistent with Islam, we have to take it. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he was talking about the queen of Yemen, Balqis, in the verse it says, إِنَّ الْمُلُوكَ إِذَا دَخَلُوا قَرْيَةً أَفْسَدُوهَا وَجَعَلُوا أَعِزَّةَ أَهْلِهَا أَذِلَّةً. ماذا قال رب العزة والجلالة؟ وَكَذَلِكَ يَفْعَلُونَ. When the kings, the tyrants, invade a village, what will they do? They will spread mischief and they will humiliate the dignified among its inhabitants. That's what Balqis said. After having received what? The signals from Sulaiman that he returned the gifts she sent, and he said either you come by choice or you will come by force. So she was telling her people, who were then very, very strong, and they were equipped, and they said, we are tough fighters, it's your choice. She said, no. Kings, when they enter villages, they will spread mischief and they will humiliate the dignified. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and so they do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirm it in the translation that they will do the same. So if we find hikmah, because we're Muslims, we're the most deserving of that hikmah. We have to go and get that hikmah, grab it. Also, a person should pick a woman whom when he looks at, he feels pleased with. Because that will bring tranquility and that will make him lower his gaze from other women. But if a person, and beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Somebody who's in China have a criteria for beauty different than the person in England. In France, the same thing, different than a person in India, and so on and so forth. But these are important criteria. When it comes to the marriage, Sharia considers everything that the husband does to his wife and the wife does to her husband. Sharia considered it as ibadah, worship. Everything is considered as worship. Somebody might say, how could that be? Subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what can be translated as, and Allah has not created jinn and man except that they worship. The only reason we're on this earth is what? To worship Allah. But the only ones who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time are the ones, if they're going to visit friends, they will do it for the sake of Allah. If they're going to visit a sick person, they will do it for the sake of Allah. If they're going, even if they are going for the natural relationship with their wives, subhanallah, they will remember Allah before they start. In our countries we have such a joke. If the child is very naughty, they will tell their parents, you didn't say Bismillah. So yani even for that, a person have to precede that with what? With zikrullah. The Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said that even for that relationship, Allah rewards. So some Sahabi said, even if we're going for our desires and pleasure, the Prophet ﷺ said what could be translated as, what if the person went for desires and pleasure to the wrong woman, non-married woman? Adultery. Will he be sinning? The man said yes. The Prophet ﷺ answered in logical analogy. And so, when he does it with his wife, he will be rewarded. So even for your own pleasure, if you precede that with dhikrullah, you'll be rewarded. And that's another protection for the child also. Subhanallah. A protection for the child. So marriage is not only intended for pleasure. It's not only intended for pleasure, it's part of it. It's a very insignificant part of it. There are very important values and virtues in marriage. Number one, chastity. Number two, to continue your offsprings, to continue your successors, and also to contribute to what? To a generation that's going to be born, which is Muslim, barakallahu bik, which is committed to Islam. And this could be supported by the hadith that I just mentioned, which is make sure you select the right wife. After the marriage, the wife and the husband should really have what? Should have a mutual agreement between them. Because the nikah or the aqd, it's a covenant, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described it as what? Just a covenant? Did Allah precede that with an adjective? What was the adjective? Yes, mithaqan ghalidha. How could we translate ghalidha here?
Very strict, very serious, very
serious commitment.
Very, very serious commitment.
Strong.
Yes, strong, serious, it includes all. It includes strong, it includes binding. Yes, it includes everything. Okay. Everything. Can you imagine a person goes to you and you have your own daughter? All the way around, when she was born, you're carrying her, you're kissing her, you're doing everything for her, you're raising her, you never slapped her on the face. He gets married to her and then he starts abusing her and he starts doing unbelievable things. Can you imagine? So if we don't like that for our daughters, how could we like it for the daughters of our fathers-in-law? How could we like it? The same way you want your daughters to be treated, you treat your wives. You treat your wife that way, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect your children. So, also from the characteristics that you would get from the righteous wife, that she would be compassionate towards your family, her children. She would be merciful. She would be flexible with you. She would not be overbearing with miseries. She would be taking everything the easy way with you. She would be moderate. Okay? She would not be in any of the extremes. The Prophet ﷺ one time was sitting, and a woman had two children, and she had 3 dates. We know what dates are, right? She had 3 dates. One time we went to a conference, and it was, we went at night about 11 o'clock. We drove with one of our imams. He's subhanallah, yani very simple person, but subhanallah, very pious one. He just speaks out of his, yes, subhanallah. And we wanted to get something to eat because we missed the dinner, and it was a different city for us. So he joined me. We went, and we were at the window where we made the order, and then he had some dates. And then there was a girl who was serving at the window, and he said, "Are you interested in a date?" The girl told him, "Sure."
When and where?
Huh?
When and where?
Inshallah, it will be in private. I'll tell you where it is. But I'm not going to tell you the imam. He was an imam.
But the imam was the girl, or?
Huh? No, I mean, to my surprise, she said, "Sure." And he was wearing something like this. That will give you a clue.
You?
No, not me. I wasn't wearing it. Barakallahu feek. So this woman had 3 dates. She gave each one of her children, she had 2 children. She gave each one of them 1 date, and she was holding the other one. And I'm going to ask this question not to the sisters because they will know the answer, to the brothers. After some time, she had how many dates left?
1.
1. The youngest started crying. What do you think the woman should do? Not the sisters. They will know the answer. Split it. Yes, she did split it into 2 halves, although the elder was not crying. But with our mentality, we will give it to the younger. The whole thing will tell Malish he's younger, I'm sorry, because he's young. But she did the right thing. She split it into 2 halves. She gave a half to the one who was crying. She gave the other one a half. What do you think the Prophet ﷺ said? Allahu Akbar.
Very good.
Allahu Akbar. So this is the kind of a wife that we should, young men, you should be looking for. And our wives also, we urge them, inshallah, and we urge also our brothers. It's not too late for us. We can correct things, inshallah.
Say it in English.
Huh?
In English.
Oh,
He didn't translate what he
The
said.
hadith.
Translation of what?
that means you have another opportunity. You can correct your action. Number 2,
Oh,
number
did I say it in
3,
Arabic?
or you can split it.
Yeah, just...
What the Prophet said.
فشرها بالجنة.
The hadith. the
Save
Prophet-
yourself.
Oh, you're talking about... Yeah.
Save yourself from hellfire, even if half a day.
Barakallahu feek. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave her. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave her. The Sharia, so we're moving now from the choice of the wife, okay, by concluding the hadith. The Prophet ﷺ says what? تُنْكَحُ الْمَرْأَةِ I need some help.
الأربع.
Yes.
Oh, some help with what?
For 4, the criteria is 4 reasons.
Oh.
The first and foremost is what?
لدينها.
No. No.
لمالها.
لمالها. The first and foremost is what? The wealth. The wealth of our parents. And we have a joke I had when I was doing my master's. I had some friends from India, and they were not Muslims. It's okay to have non-Muslim friends, I think. So we used to walk, and when they see an Indian, okay, an Indian who is a dark, wife, they tell me, see this? He got married to her because she's wealthy. Otherwise, he would have gone married to a fairer one. That's common in most of our countries. In most of our countries, unfortunately. So the first criteria is what? Her wealth.
Darkness.
The second criteria is what? Her beauty. Sometimes people say, it's okay, I will work 2 jobs. Let me get married to her. I know she's poor, but she's beautiful. So they will go for that. They go for the beauty. And the third criteria is what?
حسبي.
Yes. Which family she belongs to. She is the daughter of the police inspector. She is the daughter of, for example, the head of the tribe. She is the daughter of this. They will go for what? The status of her family. And the last one is what?
ديني.
That's the last criteria. I don't know how many of us got married because of the last criteria. I don't know. And I don't want to ask.
We can correct it inshallah.
No, I don't want to. We're not calling for correcting that one.
Subhanallah, we still have a chance, brother. Even if he's 60 years old, he still have a chance, man.
Slim chance.
Free country, free speech. Don't worry about it.
So let us go ahead and ask these questions. If a person got married because of the wealth, do you think he will get the wealth? The day that he has differences with his in-laws, they will tell him, oh, you were very poor until you came and you got married. Now we gave you a car, we gave you a house. What do you think of yourself? What if you got married because of beauty? He would be the ugliest among his in-laws. And they would tell him that. What if you got married because of the status of the wife? Husband. They will still look him down, right?
Your father-in-law will go to jail.
Yes. So the best thing is what? The Prophet ﷺ said, فَظْفِرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ. Go for what? The religious one. Why? The result is what?
تربت يدك.
تربت يداك. What does it mean, تربت يداك?
You made the right choice.
That too.
What else?
Your hand stuck to the dust, or that تربت يدك من التبر وهو الذهب.
Yes, تربت يداك من التبر والذهب. That means what? You will succeed, no question. By all means, succeed. So if we use reverse analogy, if you did not choose the religious one, what do you think will happen?
You go to hellfire.
You will not succeed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as he did with Zakaria, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala corrected the problem with his wife because she could no longer give birth, right? He almost reached the age of senility and he was calling for a child because children are important, right? Zechariah was supplicating for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless him with a successor. And then, subhanallah, when Zechariah was at Maryam's place, her room, he observed that she gets fruits of the summer during the winter, fruits of the winter during the summer, and he asked her, where do you get this from? She said what? From Allah. For He provides to whoever He wishes, whenever He wishes.
No expectation.
Then and there, the Zechariah did what? Raised his hand. Oh Allah! Sincerely called him for what? To bless him with what? His wife, she was no longer menstruating. Her period was over. She was pure. She didn't get any period. And he was a man who almost reached an age where he didn't have any physical needs. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala corrected his wife. Right? So he corrected his wife. We pray to Allah to correct our wives. We don't need to go for another one using that criteria. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to correct our wives, even if they are fault, inshallah, to bless us, inshallah, with more children if we are looking for that, inshallah. Huh?
No. He's going to make a big istighfar for this statement.
Barakallahu fika. Okay. Also, Sharia made sure that we put emphasis on a few things. Number one, at infancy and also at the toddler age, we should inculcate al-aqidah, the concept of monotheism, in our children. Some even said before the child is born, when he was still in his mother's belly, let him hear some Quran. Just have some Quran recited. I know some of you will tell me, what is the proof in Quran? What's the proof in Sunnah? I'm just saying this without any proofs. But I will tell you one thing. The scholars in the medical area, they prove that the cells communicate in the body. The cells, they have communication. They communicate and they warn each other. Even the offensive cells, like the cancer cells, they warn each other. They send signals. They tell, okay, there is an enemy, which is the medicine. There is an enemy that we're fighting, so make sure that you get ready for it. You know, change your form, your structure, do whatever, immune yourself. It's proven. Cells in the body, they communicate. Not only cells in the body. Some scholars in this country, they prove that even the trees communicate. And what they did is they went ahead and they sprayed something that will kill the leaves on some trees. And they realized that when they use that same thing on a neighboring tree, which they haven't used before, they realized that the tree had already got immune system from it. They said maybe it was just something that was taken by the wind. So they isolated one tree completely. Isolated, no wind, nothing. They just give her air conditioning from the bottom coming from somewhere. And they did the same thing. They put some poisonous that kills the leaves on neighboring trees. And this isolated tree, they tried to do that, but they found it also, it had immunity against. Only Allah knows. We know that the trunk of the tree talked to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right?
No.
So sometimes people don't really use their brains. Like those who claim that they are vegetarian. They say, no, we're not created to eat the animals. That is barbaric. That is something that is not really right. How could you even kill the animal? The animal would feel when you cut the throat. The animal would feel when you kill it and all of that. They forgot that the tree also has life. The tree also has life. Because we don't know when it talks, it doesn't mean that it doesn't talk. It doesn't mean that it doesn't feel. It feels. They go around and tell you that we're not created to this. What about the canines? What are these for? The canines. Are these for eating grapes?
To bite your wife?
These for what? What are these for? Do we have medical doctors here?
To attack your wife?
Huh?
To attack.
Naturally, what would the person do with this one? The canines.
Cut with
Yeah, true. Of course. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with all of these. Okay, so let me move, inshallah, quickly. So when the child is still in his mother's belly, if we could have Quran recited, at least for remembrance, for the wife, for us, and maybe the child will listen, we don't know. But the scholars, again from medical area, they said if you play music when the woman is pregnant, they said the child
Dancing. It's true.
They said that.
It's true. I
Huh?
saw it. I saw it.
You saw it? Barakallahu fiqh, خلاص. And he is a witness that I cannot reject his. Yeah. So subhanallah. And we have to take care of the child when he was in his mother's belly. We should not fight. We should not fight. Even if we want to fight, we should not do it while the woman is pregnant. According to the scholars, not the Muslim scholars, according to the medical scholars. So we have to be very careful during the pregnancy time. And then after the child is begotten, the very first thing that we should do is what?
And then
Yes. Islam emphasizes on this. Make adhan and then what? What else?
The date.
تحنيك.
Technique.
Yeah, no, I don't want it in Arabic. I want it in English. In English. Let's see some Shakespeare. What is tahniq in Arabic? In English.
There's no one word.
There's no one word for it.
No one word for
They
it.
put some,
Barakallahu fiqh, there's no one word for it. So describe it, please.
just chew
You
the,
volunteered.
chew the date and put some of it in the mouth of the
Choose the date and put some.
mouth of the.
What is the effect of that?
Immunity.
We're doing it. What's the effect?
Immunity.
Immunity? Anybody else? Go ahead, sister.
Smartness of the brain.
Huh?
Brain becomes stronger and stronger.
MashaAllah, barakallahu fiqh.
What she said.
Let's start for the.
What did she say,
Let's
Sheikh?
start with sweet.
Brain
So
becomes
sweet. So she ate the.
When we fast, what is the very first thing that we're recommended to take?
Take dates.
Why? It's the quickest to be absorbed by the system. The quickest to be absorbed by the system. Scholars have proven here in this country that the fastest to be absorbed, and they would realize it in the blood right away. SubhanAllah, the dates. It will affect the child growth, the development. You know, some of the senses would be developed right upon what? Birth of the child, right? The child, when we're born, I mean, his heart would not be functioning properly in the sense that the heart and the lungs will not be working together, right? There will be a hole where the child would receive the blood, oxidized blood from his mom. But then the lungs have to start, right? When the child is born, the lungs will start. Some children, as soon as they were born, that hole will be closed and the lungs will start functioning and they will start what? Start breathing. When they start breathing, obviously, you have to do the azan and you have to do what is told now. Because that is the most nutritious thing that a child could have, and it will enhance the development of the senses of the child. Subhanallah.
والمحدثون يعني تكلموا في الحديث بتاع الاذان والاقامه يعني ضعفوه.
بارك الله فيك. وهو الشيخ وقف عند واحد.
أنا واقف عند واحد.
Sheikh just said one and he didn't say the other one.
سكت هو قال لك one next I didn't say anything.
No, الشيخ is safe. It's okay, inshallah. بارك الله فيك. So, after that, what do you think we should do? Go ahead, Sheikh. العصر? Okay. So, obviously, the Prophet ﷺ, any child from Bani Hashim, when the child starts telling right from wrong, when do you think a child starts telling right from wrong?
6 months.
No, there is a criteria, not by age. There is a criteria.
10 years old.
مروا أولادكم.
Let's go to the Imams then.
What's the question?
Not puberty.
What is the question? مروا أولادكم للصلاة للسبع. If this is what you're looking for.
Sabah, that is for the prayer, but I'm talking about when the child will start knowing what's right from what's wrong.
10.
There's a criteria. No, I'm not asking about age. There's a
لم
criteria.
يظهروا على عورات النساء.
يبلغ الحلم.
Huh? No, crying, that is the child will use for defense and
This
for
is spoilage,
services.
for a spoilage.
But we're talking about a child which knows what's right from wrong? When will you know your child knows what is right from wrong?
البلوغ يمين البلوغ
Huh?
when you tell them
When the child determines something hurts him and he stays away from it, that's the child. That's a criteria that they use in the past. Then they know. Okay?
Say it again, Sheikh.
When the child knows what hurts him, when the child will not take, for example, put his hand in the fire, for example.
They love this, Sheikh.
Yes. Huh?
They love it.
Barakallah.
No, serious. The children, they love to touch the fire.
Subhanallah.
Serious.
Subhanallah.
that is true.
But when the child knows what scares him, what hurts him, then the child should be told what's right from what's wrong.
What age is this?
It varies. It varies. The Prophet ﷺ, when a child knows what's right from wrong, the first thing the Prophet ﷺ will recite and ask people to recite for this child is Alhamdulillah الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا. Prayer that was recited, part of the surah, part of Surah Al-Isra.
لا 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 فين ان الرسول قال يعني اعملوا كده في وقت كده؟
نعم.
ايش السند بتاعها؟
Yeah, we will talk about the Sunnah later on.
ماشي
inshallah.
ماشي.
Barakallah fiik. Okay, battery. Okay, further. Also the Prophet ﷺ said, discipline your children, especially in 3 areas. Their love to the Prophet ﷺ, their love to recitation of Quran. They should love reading Quran, reciting Quran. And they should love the household of the Prophet ﷺ. أدبوا أولادكم على 3 خصال. على حب نبيكم وحب آل بيته وتلاوة القرآن. Also, we should really teach our children not to be selfish. Not to be selfish. When do you think the child will be selfish? Imam Ghazali spoke about this. When do you think the child will be selfish?
When his mother have a girl.
When his father.
When his mother has a girl.
Oh, so you're talking about the male child. What about the female child?
When the mother have a boy.
They said, Imam Ghazali said, if you start giving your child food as much as the child asks for until he fills the stomach, the day there will not be enough food, the child, if there is another child, he will try to take all the food for himself. Then and there he will start learning what? Selfishness. Then and there the child will start picking up bad habits. Don't feed the child until he cannot breathe. Very bad. Give the child just enough. Treat him when he was young, at young age, that he should not fill the stomach. I mean, I know some mothers are compassionate. They keep feeding the child and feeding the child and feeding the... No, please, don't. Wallahi, it's not good. Because, and I want you to go back and look at your neighbors, your friends, your acquaintances, and see the children who are selfish. You will realize that they used to eat a lot. They used to eat a lot. Subhanallah. Allahu Alam. There could be exceptions.
What do you mean they have all what they need? They give to him.
When you give him all what he needs, what if he is in a place where all what he needs is not there and there are some to share with him? He's not going to give it. He will think that it is for him and him only. Okay, it's going to be long. Let me just switch this one.
Take your time, Sheikh. No rush. Take your time. Salah is at 4:30.
Did you hear somebody horsing behind him?
And 10 minutes extension from Sheikh Mustafa and 5 minutes from the CIC coordinator, so you can finish by 5.
Did you hear somebody horsing behind you?
Yeah.
Okay, barakallah.
I take you back, Charlotte. Don't worry about Sheikh.
Barakallah, jazakallah khair. So the first point is that what? Aqidah. Okay. The second point is what? Ibadat. Acts of worship. Aqidah is like a seed you planted, but it will not grow. The only time it will grow and it will stand firm and fixed in the heart is when you nourish it with what? Ibadat. Acts of worship. Acts of worship. Acts of worship cause aqidah to grow and to stay firm in the heart. So we should start teaching the child how to pray. A lot of people say we don't have to know about anything until we are reach adolescence. Your child now, please, your child is 10 years old. Teach him a little bit about salah, about this, about that. Okay, when he reaches adolescence, we'll teach him all of this. People think that it's only when a person becomes responsible, then they have to teach him. No. There is a deadline for every required knowledge. There is a deadline for prayer. You have to teach your child how to pray when? At least before he was 7 years old. Because the Prophet ﷺ said what? Command him to pray at 7. If you didn't teach him, how would he be praying? And discipline him at what? 10. Right? So prayer, the deadline for teaching the child to pray, it is a mandatory thing. It is upon the child's father and mother to teach the child how to pray before the child is 7 years old. Okay? What is the deadline for fasting? What is the deadline for fasting?
When they know how to play with toys.
Puberty.
Barakallah bik. Puberty or what?
When he can.
For the boy is puberty or when the boy reaches 15 years old, whichever is younger, whichever is first, right? So you have to teach him how to fast before that. I know some of you will train their children at 5 years old, 6 years old to fast. That is fine. That is fine, that's good. But if the child is not really managed well, then that child will start cheating. If you try to force the child, it's 5 o'clock and fasting should be broken at 6 o'clock. You tell the child, this is only 1 hour, do please. No, you stay. It's okay. It's okay, you can make it. This child will eventually cheat. So if you are treating the child to fast, he started fasting from dawn, 12 o'clock, he says, I want to break the fast.